Good day and good evening, and welcome back to Daily Roulette Hangout stream with me, Chaiji, but you can just call me Kai. So, for those that have not been, those that are new to this kind of stream, what happens is I will be hanging out at my house in-game. I'm technically also in my home IRL. And I will be going through most of the daily roulettes. I'll be skipping over some that I just don't think are very fun to run. And depending on how much time we have left when we're done with that, we might do something else. For instance, we might do some of the currently weekly locked normal raid tier, just for fun. And if you want to, you are very, very welcome to come hang out at my house in-game. And the way that works is that every time I'm about to do a roulette, I'll walk to somewhere in my garden here, and I'll be like, if you want to come along for insert roulette here, come on over to me. And you just walk over to me, I bring out a little notepad, and then write down, a digital notepad, I write down everyone who came over, and I grab 3, I note who got in. And then that of course means that if you keep walking over, I'll see you on the list and be like, oh well, this is like the second time or the third time that that you came over and I haven't picked you yet. So I'm picking you over someone who's like, well, I just went. So that you actually get a chance to play with me, for example. And that's essentially the stream. When we get to the 8-man stuff, usually, I say usually, because more often it feels like there's no longer the case, but usually when we get to 8-man stuff, there's like 9 people there. Which means that it's basically impossible for me to go, okay, let's make a new group, everyone. Because if I can grab the one person, but then I have to grab like 6 people that were already there. So I'm essentially choosing who's not welcome. And that usually means that we stick with the same party until we hit the alliance raids. And then we will split up to make smaller groups so that we can all try and queue into the same alliance raid together. Sometimes it works. But that's essentially what this is. And this is a, relatively relaxed stream. If you have questions, there's something you want to talk about, you're curious about, game, whatever, this is also a pretty good time to do that. Now, with that said, well, thank you, Ilana. Means I don't have to do it. With that said, hey Taldaba, hey Zaf, hey Rust, hey Kaj, hey Ilana, hey Fupoof, hey Naomi, hey Vibes, hey Jin Monica, hey DPS, hey Cerberus, hey Lovers and Lilacs, hey Crusher, hey Biff, hey RC, hey False Geek, hey Grishnak, hey Nox, hey Rocky, hey Accuse, hey Knight, hey Talons, hey Tug, and hey Diazmuzabal. Hope you're all doing very well. And thank you for celebrating 22 months as part of the Cult of the Pink. Thanks so much for the support, Ceras. That's awesome. You are the weakest link. Goodbye. Geek says, and sometimes you got random teleports to who knows where right before queuing. Yeah, we had one day where we were doing Alliance Raid queuing where we basically ran through a list of all the things that you can't do when you're trying to like sync queue into alliance raids. For those curious, if you're in a group to do alliance raid roulettes and you're trying to like sync queue with another group, the way that you do it is that you basically set it up so that you queue at like exactly the same second. Because then, like, unless one party fills an existing, like, to-be-made alliance raid what happens is usually that both of those two alliance, those two parties will make up our part of the alliance raid, and then you'll land in the same one. That's also how Frontline works. Although with Frontline, it's very likely you just land on in a different team, and then you're against each other. But that can also be fun, right, guys? Which means that when the party leader clicks Q, it is crucial that everyone in the party is actually ready. And it's not ready as in, yeah, I feel ready. You have to personally, whatever job you are, go in the party, do this, you check this and make sure that there isn't a lock here. Because you could have too low item level gear on whatever job you have equipped. And if you have that and the party leader clicks Q, it just goes, someone isn't geared. And the reason why you have to do this prep is also because when it says to the party leader, someone isn't ready, it says to you personally in private, by the way, that was you. You weren't ready because your gear sucks. And only you can see it. So when the party leader says, who was it? They're not asking for people to like go, I don't know, I think my gear's good. They're asking which one of you got the dummy message. Who got told by the game that they goofed it. And you don't want to be that guy. And then finally, if you're in a loading screen, it might not be possible for the party leader to queue. So if you are trying to do this syncing, and someone is like, okay, we queue when this one says like 1935. Before you click yes to the original ready check, you make sure you've done this, checked this is good, this is Gucci. You don't change after that point. You just leave it. And then, when the party leader says I'm going to queue at that time, you just don't do anything until the queue has been activated. That's all you have to do. Just don't do anything. Just wait until the queue appears. Then you can, I don't know, go and switch into a gatherer and farm things if that's what you want to do. But yeah, the reason I'm listing these things is because those are the two common things that can stop this from working. Also, hey Bovomet and Mizu, hope you're doing well. Only you can prevent queue syncing issues, yes. I will say the funniest bit in this is specifically the part that and this actually applies for any duty, if your party leader queues for something and the party leader gets the error message that they can't, the person who's at fault is usually told why. The party leader is not told why. Not exactly. Not exactly enough that they can specify that it's you. So you can quietly fix the problem. But better idea is just make sure you don't cause it to begin with. Also, yeah, we've been on Twitch for a while now. Anyway, with that preamble out of the way, maybe we should start playing the game. Right? So, if you would like to join me for Expert Roulette, come on over to me over here. So I'm writing the names first because usually when I grab 3 players, everyone else just leaves before I can write their names. I got everyone's names. I have a list. Are you checking it twice? I check it many times. Yes, indeed. Hope you're doing well. Oh yeah, it also funny detail is that the game will tell you when you queue, I believe, if your gear is breaking. Sorry about that.
Ah, you've come.
But yeah, we specifically had one incident where first someone in my party specifically didn't have a good enough gear equipped, so it failed. But the other team instantly had a Q pop. So because of that, or almost instantly, but we missed the timing because we weren't ready. So they clicked no so that we could re-queue, which is already dangerous. Then I believe then we tried again. But then someone was teleporting somewhere. It could have been that it was the opposite order, but it was like first one, then the other. And the reason why it then became a problem is because if you click no to a Q pop 3 times in a row, then you actually get the same punishment as if you had left. Like if you actually, like, you know, the punishment for leaving a duty. So we were so far down to the wire that the other team, who was ready from the get-go, had to click yes when we finally got it to work. But if I recall correctly, we didn't even land in the same part, in the same alliance when we finally got it to work. So after all that, it was for nothing. Who knew how hard it is to actually play with each other, right?
The memories of a physician. One who saves lives should be reluctant to die.
One who saves lives should be reluctant to die. Well, don't get your hopes up, Mr. Calyx. They might be willing to sacrifice their own life for others. They might be too selfless. Some of you will die. Shrug. It is actually quite strange that the Alliance Raid Roulette straight up isn't made to make 24-man. If you're more than 8, then you just have to queue for the dungeon you want or duty you want. It's really weird. This boss a reskin of Eradicator? I don't know if it's Eradicator, but this is not a new this is not a new skeleton, that's for certain. Yes, Hegemony is basically this boss. I want a new skeleton. There's actually a lot of bosses where you, like, it's extra funny when it's really obvious. But sometimes when you realize what it's supposed to be, it can also be really funny. Anyone wanna tell the class what skeleton Omega uses?
It served its purpose.
Yep, Omega is a frog. Just straight up, just random frog. His Metricon says, I think M12 is a new model. He might be, or he might have some new animations. From what I've seen, he looks very similar to whatever skeleton Ifrit from Eden uses.
The prison of sinister repute. I need not compel them to fight.
And yep, the final boss of Ghost Park is straight up just Hades' final phase. Is this stream a cover-up for Caetsu to get faster queues as Black Mage? I mean, what usually happens, as I've realized, is if I put together a party and I just pick a job, then very quickly everyone will switch jobs around that. I didn't even mean to specifically claim DPS, but I was Black Mage when I invited people and everyone else switched around me, so I got to play Black Mage. Sometimes I end up tanking most of the stream.
These are loyal executioners. They shall deal appropriately with criminals. Your sentence is death. How long can you defy it?
Your sentence is death. Oh, thanks. Glad to hear it. Oh, you mean M12 Phase 1. Right, for some reason I assumed... I was picturing Phase 2 because that one actually does look rather unique, right? Or rather, it doesn't look rather unique. Because it, you know, it's just dude. But yeah, I do believe that Phase 1 Lindworm is new. Has long history of people being too accommodating. Oh yeah, my favorite is when I'm like, we need one person to leave. And then like 3 goes all at once. Like, well... Uh-oh. Ilana, do you have Phoenix down? Not in range? No, it's in range. Oh, you got it. I'm definitely not in range of Agent Monica. Oh, I'm gonna get grabbed. No! No! I got yoinked! No lizard yoinking! Did you know that accepting death is the greatest sin a life can commit? IMO. Calyx 2025. What duty was it, Knight? Queen Eternal, right. If it was like really early on like a work day, I guess I can see that that could cause that. To be fair, Aki, I think, was it 7.4, 7.3 that they changed this? They made Phoenix Downs way better and stackable.
The enemy is at the gate. To arms, good soldiers, protect.
So you may not have missed that many. Noxus 7.3. Yeah, basically, before that, you could only carry one Phoenix down at any one time, and it could only be used when you were not in combat, and only on a full moon on a Wednesday in the winter. So it was never useful. And treasure portal. See, the funny thing is, if you're in one of those treasure map things, you can just switch to a job that has a rest when the battle is over. Like, if that's a problem, you can just rest someone after the fight anyway. So Zavarian, hope you're doing well.
An amalgam of memories.
Congratulations, almost.
See how it
Accuse.
fares. It is the midst of the storm.
Switching job puts a lengthy cooldown on everything. Oh yeah, it puts everything on their respective cooldowns to disincentivize you from switching just because it's convenient. But it does still, like, I'm just saying, the specific situations where Phoenix Down was useful, you usually had other options. Except for deep dungeons, I think. In deep dungeons, you could actually be in a position where Phoenix Down is the best answer you have. You know what's even sadder about that night is that as of Dawntrail, Phoenix is the weakest of those summons.
Bombs rain down without pause or mercy.
It is quite a fall from grace, because I do believe in Shadowbringers, Phoenix was the stronger one, and in Endwalker, they at least made sure that they were roughly equal.
The spark of life is dimmed with every
Swing Exodium,
blinding
be
flash.
doing well. Extremely niche hypothetical where nobody in a dungeon has racing job unlocked. Yeah, that I guess that could happen.
Death is everywhere, pillaging the promise of the future.
I feel like at that point you may just have to accept that you made the bed you're lying in now. Take note that to land in such a situation, you have to have a party of players, none of which have leveled a single healer, go, yeah, I don't think we need a healer for this. I think we're good. And then discovering that, no, actually, you're not. Hey Jeff, hope you're doing well. Did an all tanks run of Juno this week? It was quite stupid. I could imagine so. Just to be clear, what I mean is I believe in treasure maps, if you're dead, I think you need to be rest. I think? I'm not 100% sure, but if true, then yeah. If you then have a full party when no one can rest you, then you better hope that someone has a Phoenix down, right? Blah, 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 blah. Check out this trick. Fish. Right. If you would like to join me for level cap... Whoops. Dungeons. No, 1 second. I'm getting a fish. Epic. A manta. Thank you. If you'd like to join me for level cap dungeons, come on over to me over here. You know, that problem with too accommodating? I have noted. I have you on the list, Laffy. Laffy. The weirdest chair dance. Or musical chairs.
There are beasts ahead of you. They must have gotten in and made them
Musical jobs, yeah, exactly. Man, I didn't even get to use my goring blade.
that leads inside. Look for an opening.
And there's a tongue that didn't even get to spend all of the Starry Muse. Team 2 got you Weir Water? Nice. That sounds better than this. Nothing against Underkeep, but I've recently gotten a lot of Underkeep. Spin! Hey Necrophyts, hope you're doing well. I got Alexandria the other day and the healer left as we started the first boss. Ah, yeah. That could have worked with almost any tank except Dark Knight. Then it gets a little awkward. Although even when Alexandria was new, Dark Knight could solo the last boss as long as you got a little bit into the fight. You may be wondering how I know this. Meep meep. Meow. You may be wondering how I know this. Dark Knight can solo the second boss similarly. The fight is already going for at least a little while. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You just need to get past the part where you need players. I forgot to look for the ant, so everyone stacking on me had a little bit of that feeling of, we were following you. Very scary when you guess first correctly. Oh, well, your first guess is correct. You're like, I don't know if I'm right or if everyone thinks I'm right or hopes I'm right. I don't know if they know I'm right. Yeah, the pro tips of who to follow in a mechanical duty context. Don't trust the black mage, because the black mage might not actually have any intentions of staying where they are. They might have their cursor hovering over someone to just manip to. And don't trust the tank. They may have decided that they're not just gonna tank it. Hey Sip, hope you're doing well. Hey Seal, hope you're doing well as well. Can you share tongue without stance on for funnies? No.
Everkeep's construction was apparently a constant battle against the rising water level. Even during the war, the people labored to maintain the castle.
Tongue being like, do it.
It's upsetting to think that preservation...
My body can take it. Also, yeah, don't trust the streamer. Let's all think back to I can't remember if it was the last Daily's Hangout stream or the one before that, where I was like, we all know how to do refurbish a zero, as I promptly did everything wrong. Hey Fern and Cat, hope you're doing well. Which boss was it, Knight? Yep, exactly, Necrophits. Exactly. Not only did I do that, but I'm pretty sure I even, like... on top of that, accidentally moved we're about to move those ads out of the puddle. Like, I was basically doing exactly... Like, I apparently know Refurbisher Zero so well that I know how to do exactly the opposite of the correct strategy. Oh. I thought it was the other one.
That was hardly a challenge, I see.
Oh, it was Refurbisher. Right, yeah. Refurbisher Zero is like... some of you may have seen... when I made a video on the hardest normal raid boss in the game, Refurbisher Zero was rank 1. And I will say, while some of my picks are some that I'm like, yeah, that in retrospect, nah. M12 probably shouldn't have been on the list, now that we've gotten a little bit of practice. But last time, when I made the hardest trials, I got a lot of people like being like, why didn't you include the newest trial? That one is hard. No, like, I didn't include it because I put my expectations higher, because I think maybe it's hard because it's new. And I did the same thing with the hardest dungeon boss, where I didn't include the Mesoterminal boss, because it's like, it's not that hard, is it? So this time I was like, well, I mean, I have had some wipes to M12, so maybe he's actually hard. I put him on. Nah, he's not. It's not that bad. It's not. He's probably not a top 10, at least. But Refurbisher, I would say, is pretty... the undisputed champion of hardest normal raid. What did he do? He has mechanics. He has real mechanics, guys. And punishment if you do it wrong. So yeah, it does make sense that you would be a little afraid of it, Knight. I actually remember, I think the first time on a dailies hangout like this, like back in Endwalker, the first time the community landed against Refurbisher, I remember people being like, oh no, it's Refurbisher. And I was like, do you want to take a moment for us to talk about the tactics of this boss? And then we spent like 5 minutes actually explaining the mechanics of the boss and how to do it. And the key thing, Lovers and Lilacs, is that if you get Refurbisher and one of the tanks knows exactly what to do and the other tank just tanks the boss relatively reasonably, then you're good. Like, that's usually, like, if the rest of the party understands to actually focus the ads when they're alive, right, when they're fighting back, then you're there, like, done, easy clap. But if you have a tank, like, if you don't have a tank that knows what to do, then it becomes really complicated, because then a DPS or a healer has to do what needs to be done, and like, that's basically how it goes. And you can land in a round of Refurbisher Zero where no one knows what to do, precisely because the fight is, like, carryable enough that you could have a full party of people that are definitely not first-timers, and none of them have ever had to do what needs to be done. So they don't actually know why it worked all the times they did it, and they don't know why it isn't working now either. So that's basically how it goes, is that's one of the craziest examples of a boss where your experience can vary heavily depending on the knowledge of the party that you're in. Oh, my Graham, hope you're doing well.
For you to die here.
Obviously, Lilac
it
says
would
that
save
Pharaoh
you
tank was
trouble
pretty good.
later.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, if you have a confident DPS that knows what to do, and on top of that, oops, the healers are aware that that DPS is taking extra damage, whoops, then that one DPS can do a lot. But when it comes to the full metal Faust, it's not that much you can do. Doesn't Refurbisher get a second arm if things go bad? It gradually gets reconstructed, yes. And the thing that causes the Metal Faust to wipe you is, I mean, it explodes if it lands in the lava too soon. But if the corpse is on the field... Oh, look, yeah, Jacob is here. If the corpse is on the field and a Refurbisher consumes it, it basically fully completes Refurbisher, and then it does a raid when you die. It's just like, it's also on the list. So, essentially what makes Refurbisher so scary is that it has a much longer list of things that it can just, like, wipe potential mechanics. Anyway, if you'd like to join me for high-level dungeons, come on over to me. Thanks. You're on boss? Fair enough. I'm just kind of checking here that I believe Party 2 is consisting of people that have already ran with me. That's the only reason I'm just continuing on. Is Sip also here wanting to be part of the roulette? Or is he just poking a fern? Is Laffy? Oh, is Laffy in team 2? Sorry, then I'll wait. Indeed, there is a Laffy. Sorry about that. Doot. That fish took me 2 hours. Oh man. How do you augment a horseshoe crab? Good question. There's a lot of effort. Oh boy! Tasha hard. Ah, dang it. There's a closed door, guys. They shut the door on us. Throw wide the gates. And Team 2 got Arboretum? I'm not even going to try to pronounce the rest of that dude's name. Every time I've had it, in Mental Roulette, I've had to try and look up a pronunciation. I can't remember. I don't even have Sonic Break. Man. SM Arboretum, indeed. Exactly, Lana. Check out this epic rotation. Ow. Uh-oh. Ow. It was just about to stun me again. It's an anglerfish! Not quite. It's a weird anglerfish. Yeah, I could imagine so, Necrophyt. Did you know that there's random mobs in Stormblood, like in low levels of Stormblood, that also give the spell? I assume you do. Oh lord, he's coming! Oh man! Oh boy! Oh lord, he coming! Mosian's Arboretum. Hey Leviathan, hope you're doing well. Hey Am, hope you're doing well as well. Open your eyes! You know, something about opening your eyes is very fitting for this boss, because the whole joke of this specific boss fight is that he does a mechanic that should be super threatening, but then he misses. Oh, well, at least it remembered eventually, Boomermet. Hey Daniel, hope you're doing well. The classic of someone coming back to Final Fantasy XIV, or at least seeing the game again, is seeing a dungeon that is like, oh, well, I remember doing this one when I played. Like, oh yes, it's Tasha hard. Big pull. Oh god. The real problem with the old hard dungeons is that it essentially provided a way for them to reuse the same dungeon layout while still providing more content for players to do. You can use a lot of the same mobs again and again. Like, essentially, it's a way to offer It's a shame that they nerfed nearly all dungeons. You see, the thing is, Daniel, they didn't really nerf them. In large part, jobs just got stronger. The reworks of dungeons definitely made some dungeons a tad bit easier than they were. But let's not kid ourselves here. They weren't that much. They weren't made that much easier. The real thing that made it easier is that we got a lot better. Players got better, jobs got stronger. Yes, then they nerfed the dungeons a little bit. But for the most part, the players that noticed the nerf probably, like, it wouldn't change a thing whether it was nerfed or not. Explain Ravana hard when Ravana normal doesn't exist. Back then, they had decided, I think, that 8-man trials were hard and 4-man trials were normal. At some point, I guess they realized that it's a little silly when there is no normal, and then they stopped doing it. But essentially, a lot of A Realm Reborn and Heavensward has weird things about them because they were figuring out what they were doing back then. Like, if you think that's cursed, Leviathan, then how about the fact that there is a savage version of the second raid tier of Coils of Bahamut, but only the second tier? Now that is what I would call cursed. Weird. Jose Korox, hope you're doing well. Hey Geodes, hope you're doing well as well. Yeah, supposedly the thing that made Titan really hard back in the day was actually, like, it's two things. One thing is a mechanical nerf to the boss fight itself, and the other thing is a latency fix. Because in actual Realm Reborn, like, one thing is that all of your actions have, you know, like a 0.6 second animation lock. Supposedly back then, your movement kinda also had like an extra delay, just because, which meant that a lot of the things Titan did, you almost had to just know that it was coming to dodge it in time. So after Savage Coils is pretty much just, don't play the game like that, now you can't, since we made all your cheeses impossible. Oh! You know, maybe they should do that more. What they do is that they release the normal raid, then they release the Savage, then they see what cheese players come up with, and then they adjust the fight so all of those things don't work. Like, oh, you like to do Mario Kart on Honeybee Lovely? Oh, but everyone has spread markers now. Or delete the train cheese immediately. I mean, what they would probably do there is just go, oh, those AoEs do way more damage. Or the AoE from that gives you a magic vuln, which means you instantly die to the stack. Nay, Brontom and low IQ, hope you're doing well. What they did with EX2? I guess, although that one specifically was particularly egregious, I think that was a clear oversight. The thing with EX2 is, so those that haven't done it, there's a mechanic where like everyone gets a debuff, and then there's like a line that appears horizontally across the arena, starting from the north, and then it just goes through. If you touch the line while you have the debuff, it pops your debuff for essentially a stack AoE around you that applies a vuln, so that you will die if you take 2. And everyone has to, like, resolve theirs. Except on launch... well, I think this is actually still the case. The goop out at the edge of the arena isn't lethal in EX2. So you could just step out in it. That's mistake number 1. Mistake number 2 was the line didn't actually go from the tip edge of the arena, like the whole arena, including the goop, and all the way down through the arena, including the goop. It stopped some ways down, like past the arena itself, which meant that if you just dove into the goop, you could just dodge the line altogether and just wait for it to despawn. And there wasn't a timer on your debuff, I don't think, so nothing happened. You just didn't pop yours. And then you just continued the duty as normal. So the fix they added, I believe, is that all debuffs that are still present when the line reaches the bottom explode. Or something to that effect. Like, it cleans up. So you don't actually want to avoid your debuff getting resolved. You see, the trick, you don't even need to go that far, Graham. You could just put a magic vuln on it. That's a classic solution. Exodi says, interestingly, the Singularity Reactor isn't classed as hard, despite the other... I'm guessing you mean level 60 trials being so? My only guess as to why is because the extreme version is a minstrel's ballad. I don't think it has anything to do with that. I'm pretty sure that that was just a cutoff point where they went, wait a minute. Are we ever going to do a 4-man trial again? That's my guess. Anyway, I'll be right back, and then we'll continue with some more roulettes. In the meantime, manatee restored. I'm back. Was it this week or last week where I said I was gonna be right back, and when I came back there was a line of manatees? Geode says 1 week idyllic dream just changes order of everything as a prank. See how people react. Imagine if they, like, not even that. Imagine just one day, like maybe on April 1st, they just have like on M12S or something. They just swap the order of 2 mechanics. Just to see if anyone notices. Daniel says Aurum Vale got a nerf, then I don't remember the name of the dungeon. They removed really annoying bees that wiped a lot of groups. Cotter's Cry got the biggest nerf. Crystal Tower also got a huge nerf. No to most of those things you listed. Aurum Vale got a got a nerf to the first and the last boss, insofar that the first boss has a cast time on its tank buster now, and it doesn't really auto-attack more to compensate. So that boss is slightly weaker. The thing is, the thing that makes that boss dangerous is mainly the gold dust, which it is still applying roughly as often as it always did. The last boss, similarly, got a longer, clearer cast time on its tank buster, which slows it down a little bit. The thing that really made that one scary was the burr burrows, which are still there. The funny thing is that on both of those bosses, the only problem was if you had players that were completely, like, new to the fight. Which is also why players that have experience will basically be like, you can say they got nerfed, but they're nearly unchanged. The thing that made them easier is that they will auto-attack slightly less. And their tank busters slightly easier to plan around, because you can just mitigate when the tank buster's coming, instead of just mitigating and hoping that you got it right. Except both of those bosses, if you timed it just right, you could sidestep their old tank busters. You can't do it with the new ones. So they actually nerfed the player power on those fights if you're too skilled. Not that it really changes anything. Aurum Vale's packs, in the first room, they actually moved some mobs to the door. So if you just pulled straight through the room, it's actually, if you pulled them where you normally would, it's actually harder than it used to be. If you pull smartly based on the changes, it's roughly the same as it always was. There are some packs later in the dungeon that have been removed. But those are generally packs that in the past weren't a problem anyway. Basically, the packs that have been removed largely are packs that you wouldn't pull anyway. So for an experienced player, nothing changed. The dungeon you don't remember is probably Sunken Temple of Khan, and the reason why you're wrong there is because the bees are still there. It's just that you got better, so you do enough damage, so you kill them before they get around to using Final Sting, so you think they're gone. They're still there. And they still kill. You just don't see it. Cutter's Cry, you say, got the biggest nerf? Cutter's Cry, they took away player power. They force you to clear some packs now. The first boss was made slightly more tedious, because now there is an ad that you have to kill as opposed to an ad that you can just ignore. The second boss is basically unchanged, and the final boss lost its ability to put down a perpetual ice AoE, but for a lot of better parties, the boss would die before that mattered. And Crystal Tower has basically been unchanged since Shadowbringers. The only thing they've changed is visual markers. some players believe that the multi-stack, like the 3 stack markers on what's-his-face at the end of Circus Tower was made easier, or that they were made so you can stack them now. They've always been stackable. I tried looking it up. There is no evidence of there ever being a magic vuln or anything that made it so that you couldn't stack them. The only difference is that back in the day, it just looked like bad goop. Like, didn't look like a stack marker. They just added a stack marker on it, which made it easy to do. And then they didn't add a magic vuln, which is how they normally make it so that you can't stack markers. If you see a boss fight where 2 stack markers can't be stacked, it's because they give a vuln that makes 2 of them lethal, which Xande does not have, and never had. So basically what really happened is that players got better at stacking more closely, because what could kill you there is if, like, you were in multiple stacks, but not everyone were. So you took, like, a big chunk from one stack, and then you just took a little bit more damage from the stack that everyone were in. As I wrote, I started playing 14 before Realm Reborn, and then from a Realm Reborn, there were a lot of changes. From 1.0 to a Realm Reborn, there were probably a huge amount of changes. But I would say that blaming the current version of the game for that is maybe not very fair. Because a lot of those changes were made to make the game fit with the rework, the massive overhaul that 2.0 was. Like, if we're going that far, Daniel, then remember that in 1.0, I mean, Aurum Vale was like more like a raid, as I understand. Like, just to clarify, 1.0 is so much a different game from 2.0 that it's maybe not the same. That is something you need to clarify when you're saying they nerfed things. Is if you say they nerfed things, there's been a lot of changes, and what everyone will assume is that you meant from 2.0 to now. Not from 1.0 to 2.0, or from 1.0 to now. I get it a little confusing. But fair enough, if that's what you meant, then fair enough. But was Crystal Tower in 1.0? No. So you can see how your original statement is confusing. I'll say K97 and Aliciano, hope you're doing well. But yeah, that is fair. The game has changed a lot, and older content is often getting clapped quite hard. But the reason why it can be really confusing when someone comes in, like, basically what I'm saying is, Daniel, that you came in and stepped on a landmine because somewhat recently they finished reworking all of the Realm Reborn dungeons, somewhat, that needed, quote-unquote, needed, like, specifically the leveling dungeons that they felt needed some change. And, for example, Aurum Vale, some players believe has been massively nerfed. But at least some of the players that I've ran into that say that, based on the kind of player they are, it is very possible that they haven't actually ran Aurum Vale in a few years. So, you know, what happens is that they run Aurum Vale, and last time they did it, they were kind of new. Anyway... Wonder what they're going to rework in Dusk Vigil and Shisui. They better do something about the stun lock on the first boss in Dusk Vigil. I'm just telling you, if they leave that as is, that would be hilarious. But why? like they change everything else in the dungeon, but leave the stun lock on the first boss. Like, no. That part is too important for the dungeon. It wouldn't be Dusk Vigil without that. Exactly, Fupoof. Basically, the thing that makes Aurum Vale hard, quote unquote, is that it has mechanics that are not very prevalent anywhere else. Like, I'm not even joking. The big pull that a lot of people did at the start of the dungeon, in like done correctly, like requires line of sight pulling, which is present in basically no other dungeon. It now stuns 2 players. Anyway, maybe we should have some gamer time again. Sorry about that. See, the reason why I did this whole sidetrack wasn't to like dunk on Daniel. It was specifically to be like, it's not as bad as you think. Because sometimes when people like have these expectations that, oh, they nerfed everything, it's sometimes they say it as if it's personal experience, but they mean I've heard. And then like that is what's preventing them from picking the game back up when they actually are interested. So better like quash those myths and be like, no, actually what happened is not that. Anyway, let's see here. If you'd like to join me for leveling roulette, come on over to me. Also, wow, we're a lot of people now. You know, I thought I had all the names, and then like someone moves, and then there's an additional name. It didn't affect what I was doing, but it just tells you how many people were here. Grishnak says, I remember I was so confused by that stun lock. Like, what am I missing here? Nothing. The reason why it becomes such a huge stun lock is because I believe it is partly HP threshold related. Which means that part of the reason why it just spams is because you're killing it too fast. Element is that the boss at Circus South Glass Labyrinth, you can nearly ignore all mechanics before you're overpowered, just an example. That's true. I don't actually... I'm pretty sure that that one is also simply power creep. And not... a nerf. But it is long enough ago that it is possible that they actually... like because I know how that fight is meant to go, roughly... I know that it is a perfect possibility that they actually nerfed the guy. But Glass Levelers is actually a perfect example of a fight that, like, nah, they didn't actually have to change anything. It's just that the power creep is so colossally massive that him being a little slow to start is just enough that he can't do anything now. And not only does Glass Levelers have mechanics, they're actually pretty complicated to see in action. Oh, sorry. And yes, Scylla also had, like, used to have a bunch of mechanics. Or rather, have more mechanics. Like, she basically has, like, a different, like, a slightly different version of the whole flare mechanic in Labyrinth of the Ancients. People still drop their orbs in the bin out of respect. Now, actually, as Metricon, if you don't drop the orb in the bin, it explodes and does a lot of damage. So some people do it out of fear. So, like, while the actual benefit, it's not a lot of damage. I thought it was... Well, I mean, to be fair, it's like... I believe it's like... enough damage that it definitely, like, you notice it as a DPS on your health bar. But relatively speaking, it's just okay. You need to get healed. Oh hey. We're collecting a party here. Hey. Dang it. I thought I hit all of them. I don't think you said anything that suggested that you meant the end boss before, Daniel. It's more that when people say that Crystal Tower got nerfed, it's usually about the stacks on the final boss in Circus Tower. There's also the thing that Asymmetricon mentioned, but that usually people mention that one, like, ironically. Because at the start of Dawntrail, there was a bug where the ice cubes on Ammon didn't work. So, if he actually finished his final curtain, you just died. I believe some people called that Crystal Tower Savage or Circus Tower Savage. Very fun to do as a Viper, which is how I experienced it. Just hold your burst, because it's an HP like it could be an HP threshold thing. Doesn't matter if it is. Can't hold anything. If the cubes are too close? No. Straight up, at the very start of Dawntrail, it was a bug that was present for like 2 days. When you got cubed, turned frozen, you would, like, you know how it works is that, like, that 3 or 4 spikes come down? and then you get like deep freezed, and then you get circled in by cubes. The part where you get circled in by cubes didn't happen. You just got stuck, and then you were just frozen. And it didn't count when he did the final curtain. It just didn't count. So you just didn't have anything. And it wasn't like random, it was consistent. That everyone would just get frozen, nothing else. It was fixed like there was the early access like Friday, and it was fixed I think like Monday morning. And as we know that bugs in Final Fantasy XIV, like if they're not catastrophic, they're likely to like be kept around for a while. And then they'll fix it when they have to. This one, you could say, was catastrophic. Isymmetricon says, I think people managed to rest cheese it. When I did it, we straight up just killed the boss fast enough. Like, we actually just went, just do more damage. And that also worked. It just took several attempts. But it worked! You could actually just kill him fast enough. Isymmetricon says, there's also zombie dragon skeletons getting totally cheesed. That one got nerfed. That one, I actually know for a fact, the Zombie Dragon and Labyrinth of the Ancients actually got nerfed. Originally, the skeletons exploded for 2,000 damage per nose. Well, per skull, I guess. They explode for 1,000 now. I don't know when they nerfed it, but they nerfed it. Like, that one, 100%. I found evidence that they nerfed it. And if you check the HP of, you know, synced players nowadays in Labyrinth of the Ancients, you can see that the reason why the dank strategies we use nowadays for that fight work is straight up because a healer in like item level 130 synced down and all that has like 6k HP. So they can survive just goofing it completely. Whereas if it was 2k, nope. That's also the part if you're just shy of 6k. I mean, if all 6 skeletons go through, all 6, then I think something went wrong, right? So yeah, that one I know for a fact was nerfed, which is also why I'm saying it's possible that Labolas was nerfed as well. Because the thing that the Zombie Dragon and Labolas have in common is that the actual strategy for those fights are very complicated relative to the rest of the fights. Like, I have a whole video where, like, I believe it's in one of the Mythbuster videos where I show off how you could do Zombie Dragon with a 100% guarantee that no skeletons will make it through. Like, the potentially intended strategy. Except that strategy is so much slower that it's generally just smarter to just wing it. Because it would, like, to do that, you would actually have to slow down DPS nowadays. Because the skeletons come out at HP thresholds. So yeah, it is possible they've nerfed some things. Usually if I'm like, no they didn't, is if it's a particular thing that I know that was just adjusted and not nerfed. Exactly, as Sam says, the intended strategy is to have tanks hold the skeletons out on the arms of the arena, like that's it's like almost star shape, and there's like a little like walking path and there's multiple of them, you usually use one of them to pull the dragon out to Narnia. Because indeed, the skeletons don't get like a speed boost. They're naturally extremely fast when they like get back up. And the tether between them makes them basically not have a heavy debuff that they would otherwise have. That makes them like if they run slower, they actually go in reverse. So you just drop their corpses way out of Narnia, and then you have like 30 plus seconds to kill every single skeleton. But you have to kill them one at a time because they'll be spread out enough that you can't AoE anything. And nowadays, you only have 3 tanks in an Alliance raid. The skeletons, I believe, if I recall correctly, they spawn in waves of 2 at a time. 3 waves. 2 and 2 and 2. Back in the day, Alliance raids had 2 tanks per party. Which meant that you would have had 6 tanks. Which would mean that you could at least have had, you know, 2 tanks take a wave of skeletons, and then while they do it, you can continue to damage, and it's fine, because when the second wave of skeletons come, the second pair of tanks that you have can just drag those out, and like the first tank can finish what they're doing and come back and take the third wave. And you would still have like 1 tank to like kinda like keep the skeletons going a little bit while you wait if things like slow down a little too much. Like you have more tanks to work with, but nowadays you only have 3. It is actually pretty funny to hear we had melees kill them, because you would have assumed nowadays you'd have ranged kill them to maintain uptime on the boss for the melees, right? But because there's 3 waves of skeletons, and then, you know, the skeletons come back up, and then zombie dragon respawns, and then there's 3 waves of skeletons, like, doing this would take a long time relative to how long it takes now, right? Like a long time. So I could see why they went, let's just nerf the boss. Ranged attack the dragon? That's really weird. Wouldn't the ranged be more capable of helping the tanks? You get what I mean, right, Daniel? Like, I'm not saying, well, obviously they didn't do that because that makes no sense. I'm saying, isn't it weird? Because it would make more sense to have the range to take the ads, or deal with the ads, or help with the ads. It was just how you did it? Yeah. The classic, the reason why we do this is because that's how we decided to do it. Strategy. Which is actually pretty funny, because Narnia Dragon, the strategy we use nowadays, pretty commonly, isn't universal. Now, there's also a strategy which I refer to as Center Dragon. Like, I've explained this before, the 2 prevailing strategies, it kind of depends on what data center, what region you are on, which one is more common, but one strategy is to just move the dragon, like, way off into a corner so that there's more distance for the skeletons to sprint from the middle of the arena. So that there's a chance you can kill a few of them. The other strategy is observing that you can just place the dragon, like, just phase it out, and then just have the dragon on the center platform so that everyone can hit it while being where the skeletons will spawn naturally. And because the skeletons, the way that they work, because this is Final Fantasy XIV, our beloved, totally not jank game, is that most of the time when mobs spawn or respawn, they spawn, go, huh. Oh, right, combat, and then they do something. So you have like 2 GCDs to do something to the skeletons before they actually remember that they were supposed to run at the dragon. So you just have the dragon in the center, the skeletons spawn, everyone clicks one AoE button, all the skeletons are gone before they move. Which works if everyone knows that. The problem is that some players don't expect it. They're too caught up on the fact that it's not Narnia Dragon, and then they get confused if you do it on a region where this center dragon isn't the prevailing strategy. So they either don't realize they're supposed to click an AoE button, or they forget that they're supposed to click an AoE button. Either way, you need a few players to like do it right. You don't need everyone to click an AoE button, you just need a bunch of people to click an AoE button, and then it just works. And the benefit is that I believe Center Dragon can do slightly, can clear slightly faster. Like, we're talking like a couple seconds. And Center Dragon kills the boss closer to the portal out of the room. So you save running time. So what we're dealing with here is the reason why it becomes a problem is because there are two strategies, and some people like one strategy and one people like the other strategy. And technically, one of the strategies is slightly superior if everyone knows what to do, while the other strategy is only better if people don't know what to do. Which of course means that the people that do know what to do might be frustrated that why don't people just do this? It's not hard. You just have to do insert thing. Boom. It's that easy. It's not that easy if you don't know. Anyway, what do you have left? Right. If you'd like to join me for Trials Roulette, come on over to me. We're actually a lot of people here. Let me see. I think that I've counted this right. I refers to his list, checks names, checks again. Yeah, the real sad part here is that we have like 1.5. We need more people, guys. I'm guessing that we get... Oh, wouldn't it be hilarious if we got like Hades? Technically, yes, Daniel, but you can only reach me if you are on Chaos or Light. Or to say that right as I left. Why did I say if you want to join for Trials? Oh, that you need more people. Oh, well, I think we'd need a bunch more people, because I think we'd need like 3 or 4 more people to have a party too. Oh, man. Fun fact, that AoE, you don't have to hide behind the rocks for. What's really cursed about it is, like, one of the first mechanics she does, like, consider the rocks something you can hide behind. And then no other mechanic does that. Oh. Oops. Oh. She didn't even spawn her ads. We continue straight into normal raids. Phoenix, which data center is that on? Phoenix is on light. In that case, you would be able to come to where I am, Daniel, if you use the data center travel to hop from light to chaos. But the reason why it has to be specifically light or chaos is because it's region-based. With the only exception that everyone can visit OCE. Cup of the Sun. I don't remember which one that is. A6. Oh, brother! It's his cuff. I mean... oh, man. Landmine! Ow. Annihilate the human cuff. Your cuffs! I must destroy them. You can't wear that. That looks ridiculous with the outfit. Annihilate the human cuffs. And the big scary part is I don't remember what the tell is on this guy. Ilana remembered. Thank you. You should probably tank this one because I still have magic vuln. That's a pair stack? You need exactly 2. Oh, that happens. the thing that is important with this guy, if it actually comes up, is the water tornado has to be hit by one of the ice AoEs. Otherwise, we will be missing a cover for when he then does basically the equivalent of Ecliptic Meteor. However, usually it doesn't come up. Oops, I can never remember which attacks are line of sight and which aren't. To be fair, there isn't really any consistency on that one. That's what was really funny about Garuda, is like, she has one thing. It's like, oh, you have to hide behind the rocks. And then the rest of the mechanics is protect the rocks. Anyway, who wants to join for Alliance Raid Roulettes? Come on over, we'll see how many we are. Fair enough. Guess we're 7 then. Oh boy, Crystal Tower. Am I right, Foxworth? Epic. Grishnak says, I did the Alexander raids for the first time recently and really enjoyed the story more than I thought. Had no idea about the mechanics though. Well, to be fair, like, most of the bosses may have a mechanic or two. And what's really mean is that a lot of the mechanics they do have are like, oh yeah, if you don't do that, you die. And sometimes you can just, like, throw DPS at it. Like, for instance, the 4th boss, Manipulator, has a mechanic where it puts a debuff on both healers. 2 distinctly different debuffs. They don't really do anything on their own, but it puts, like, it's like a plague, you could say. If you go near one of the healers, the debuff they have will spread to you as well. And if an individual ends up with both debuffs at the same time, they immediately die. Which means that you can basically completely trivialize this by just having the healers go away when the fight is, like, closing out. Just have them go away in separate directions. Then the mechanic's just nothing. You have the Doctor. I think that's A5. If you don't know how to activate the gases, and, like, you need to use the gorillas to toss away the bombs, and you need to use the birds to, like, dodge spammed a raid wide and things like that, then you will just wipe. But most people do know that. And there's also a tank switch there, or the tank who is, like, there may die. If they have to solo tank it, they may die. Because you can actually mitigate it. And then there's A6, where specifically the second and the last boss has pretty scary mechanics. The second boss in there can kill the tank. Like the thing I was talking about, I don't remember the orders. The one where I pointed the boss at the party. That's a line stack, but you're just supposed to know that. And if you don't line stack it, the tank usually dies. And the last boss has a mechanic that is basically you die if you don't hide behind the ice cube. But that mechanic never comes up. I saw it for the first time, like a few weeks ago. Hey, Seraph. Hope you're doing well. The stream is manning good. And then there's, of course, also Refurbisher 0 at A9. And Cruise Chaser actually also has a DPS check. If you land in phase 2 and the big orbs of doom land on the arena, you have to destroy them before the boss casts the permanent dot thing. Otherwise, they explode or you die. But usually you skip the orbs by having done enough damage, and if you don't, then usually the orbs will die in time because it's not... Oh, that's adorable. It's not too bad. And we, of course, also have good old Alexander himself. But yeah, basically, there's just enough, like, mechanics in Alexander fights that I can't be like, oh, there's no mechanics. Because there's a lot of fights that have just enough going on that, yeah, technically there is a thing. And if you ignore the thing, you die. But a lot of the fights, it's like a specific person that has to do a thing, and then you're fine. A drunken raid still a thing? I mean... Humans exist, Daniel, and humans do weird things. But, you know, you have to get a group of friends to do it. Oreo milkshake. What a name. The single target daughter of doom. And Doomer Day. Now that's a tank name. I mean, Daniel, you are aware that all that takes is a little group choosing to do that. You could just start. I can at least say, in Shadowbringers, I did Puppet's Bunker first time in a drunk raid, but that was like we had like four free companies grabbing some people here and there, and also like individuals to fill that. Drunk raids with random sounds like the most chaotic thing. Yeah, I was gonna say, the thing that makes me think I can understand why something like drunk raids would go, like, fall out of favor, is that I feel like that wouldn't be nearly as fun with strangers. Hey Ryan, hope you're doing well. Also, yeah, triple Dark Knight. Later, Yinde. Hope you're doing well as well. And hey Shaq, hope you're doing well as well. Have a ride with noodles. Hey. Hey Coco, hope you're doing well as well. Drunk League is the funniest thing in the world. Really? That sounds extremely cursed. Talk through Skype while on Drunken Raid. Team Streak was too bad at the time when we played it. I can at least say that back when A Realm Reborn was new, that those years, I can at least say that if TeamSpeak was too bad, that was a skill issue. Because I mean, my brother ran a TeamSpeak server that worked just fine, while group Skype calls were usually pretty cursed unless you had, like, I think you could pay for it and then the quality would be better. But it wouldn't be unusual for people to do that back then. There's almost zero improvement if you pay for premium Skype. I could imagine so. I specifically remember that using at least free Skype, if you were in a group call of like 3 or more, something like that, it basically worked as if only one person could talk at a time. And if like multiple people tried, it would, you know, like only let one through randomly. I might remember that worse than it actually was, but that's how I remember it. I remember that around back then, I raided in a guild in WoW that used Ventrilo. Like, I raided in a guild that used Ventrilo in Mr. Pandaria, and then I wasn't raiding in Worlds of Draenor, and when it came to Legion, Discord was like the thing. So when we established our own raid guild, me and a few friends, we just made a Discord server. And when we joined a different guild later, they also had a Discord server. Hey Crow, hope you're doing well. A Croverdose, one might say. And also, hey, Paranti, hope you're doing well as well. And Ilias here as well, wow. The reinforcements are coming. Dang it. Don't you love it when you're like running at an enemy like, oh, my combo, I can make it. And then as you press the button, it has already been queued. The combo runs out. This is just the worst. Is an Ilia where? Over in the YouTube. That is indeed right, Raki. Vi sitter här I vänden. My bars. My bars. My World of Darkness bars. Specifically on Cerberus. Imagine if people actually cared about optimal barsing on something like Cerberus. Could you imagine how cursed that would be? Could you just imagine how many would basically be, no, I'm not doing tactics. No, I'm not. Like, I'm just, like, they would go in the belly because there would be more things to cleave. Like, are you finished in that yet? No, we're cleave maxing on the ads in here. The ads that you don't have to kill? Yeah? Problem? Oh, whoa, ow. I'm gonna die. See, the problem with the ads here isn't that they, like, hit absurdly hard. The problem is that everyone's ignoring them. I'm gonna start running, and it's gonna be everyone's problem. And the only reason why the Wolfsbanes ended up on me is because it didn't seem like the other tanks were grabbing them. Good luck, Zaf! Yo, the tanks were busy. At least one of the tanks shouldn't be busy with anything if I'm tanking the boss. Surely not. It's a good aligned version of I think I'll cause problems on purpose. To be fair, the problem was that I was kiting. Like, I started running away because the plants have like a cleave, but that's melee range. So while they can shoot at me, Kildi says, what happened to ABC? A does ads, B goes belly, and C does chains. Did you see the C tank forcibly take control of Cerberus when I grabbed him because no one else did? Because C is also supposed to take the boss. I was taking ads. And the reason why it went away, Kildiwen, partly that, like, I assume that question is joking. But another part to it is also simply that a lot of people don't even know. Like, a lot of people don't even, like, people, like, will write in chat A, ads, B, belly, C, chains. But if it's your first time there, you don't even know how to enter the belly or what it even means. And you might think that the ads that you need to kill is the orb that you're not supposed to kill. Which is why the meme has become everyone goes in the belly. Because then at least the people that know how to will enter the belly. Noxus, I do not trust that everyone in B knows how to get in the belly. Yeah, exactly. I've been pretty lucky recently with just assuming that other people will figure it out. But I feel like that's lucky rather than anything else. I'll say make some time. Hope you're doing well. I had a tank recently that grabbed the ads, and I wish I could have given them 20 commendations. Indeed. Like, the thing is... No worries, Killiman. I was just clarifying that I recognized that there was a possibility that you were asking jokingly. Basically, alliance, like team-specific roles are so inconsistent about people actually doing them that people have stopped assuming that people will do them. That's what happened. And then you when you realize that, you go, okay, well, who knows how to get in the belly? If we can just convince them to go, then we're probably fine. And then the ones that were in the belly probably also know how to do the chains, or someone knows, and they will probably do the chains. And then you just pray that what remains can figure out dealing with the ads. Apparently one of the scholars in Alliance C knows me. And yeah, also that penalty. I believe it's even more weird with I think I might get this wrong. I think that in JP they usually have A do center things. Which is only confusing because you're like, but that means that A is middle. Hey, Jagged Diamond. Hope you're doing well. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you so much. And I hope you enjoy your grind. And hey, Zero Player. Hope you're doing well. And Butterfly, you too. What if nobody knows how to get into the belly, and therefore nobody actually goes into the belly? I mean, the probability of that happening is low. But that can happen. Hey, Bohijo, hope you're doing well. That can happen. And then you wipe, and then you have to find out what happened. Like, funny story. So I have a video, it's part of the Mythbuster series, that basically asks, what if everyone goes in the belly? And in that video, I also just randomly include how to get in the belly. Like, I do believe I explain a very, very rough outline of how the Cerberus fight is supposed to go. And I got at least one, if not multiple comments on that video from people going, I've played this game since World of Darkness was current, and I never knew how this fight worked. And that basically means that there's enough people to go around that know how to go in the belly, that there are players that just never have to figure it out. Cat says, what happens if you don't go in the belly? Is it HP gated? So the reason why you go in the belly is not to kill the boss. It's actually to survive. The way that the fight works is that, just visually, the fight starts with Cerberus being chained, hat on, a little bit into the fight, smashes the chains, and then he starts doing weird, ferocious mechanics, like throwing spittle on the ground that makes you tiny. And as that goes, he gets a buff that just gradually gives him haste stacks that both makes him swing faster and swing harder. And those stacks, I think they stack indefinitely. I'm not sure, but I think they either stack indefinitely or they stack really high. And he will hit a point where he just goes tank dead, DPS dead, healer dead, tank dead, just smacks everyone, just like old school World of Warcraft hard and rage, just smacks everyone one at a time, just kills everything. And the only way you can stop this is when you solve the belly, he gets stunned for a while, and then you can put the chains on him. If you don't put the chains on him, he keeps his stacks and just keeps going, which is why it's highly advised that you don't try to greed and like put the chains on late. Put them on early, because if you greed it and then don't chain him, then you just like you earned yourself like, I don't know, 20 seconds, and then he kills everybody. And then it's a DPS check, because you will not be able to fix him in time. Like, then you have to kill him or he kills you. You can just just have each tank kitchen sink and then invuln. Next tank kitchen sink invuln. Next tank kitchen sink invuln, and you just hope that those like that minute or so that wins you is enough. But you know, if you land in that position, your party is probably not very good to begin with most of the time. So that might not be enough, or your tanks might not be prepared to do that. And then you die. But if you chain him, the stacks go away and he resets to the start of the fight, roughly. Except, like, you know, then he like starts doing the lightning mechanics, and he also has friendship Doritos and things like that. Old school friendship Doritos. But yeah, because there's usually enough players, I think I remember I'm pretty sure I have wiped to Cerberus because not very many players went in the belly. What usually happens in those cases is that on the run back, you suddenly find that in your party, where just a moment ago, like 2 players went in the belly, turns out that like half your raid knew how to do it, they just didn't bother. They just assumed someone else would do it. Which then means that when you then wipe, they go, oh, well, I know why we wiped, I'll just fix it. And then they fix it, and then it's not a problem. You don't have to call me out like that. I mean, Cat, I didn't go in the belly. I just pulled the boss. So all in the belly then. What happens is like you'll have way more in the belly than you need to. Which is not so bad, as long as it's not too many. Because what happens is if everyone actually goes in the belly, Cerberus actually has a limit on how many he's willing to take. If I recall correctly... Right. If he gets the total amount of living players -5 in the belly, then you will actually get a little system message saying that Cerberus is satisfied. And if you go in the goop where he will eat someone, normally, he will just not while he's satisfied. Like, he just won't. And you'll just be there for when he gets hungry. If you put more than living players -5 in the belly, because, you know, since he can eat a bunch of people at once, you can pass the breakpoint, like the limit. You can just go past it. He will immediately barf out everyone that went in. It won't fix the mechanic. You still have to succeed it. You just have to go in again. But he will just eject everyone if you do that. And he will also do that if alive players -5 changes. Like, if there's 24 players alive, you send 19 players in, he's happy with that, then someone dies somewhere, everyone gets ejected, because now the number's wrong. He's really specific about his diet. So, then generally the way that I've started doing it, usually I don't tank in alliance raids. I just don't feel like it. But if I'm not the tank, I've kind of started doing this thing where, like, if I'm in B team, I'll go in the belly, just, you know, for consistency's sake. But if I'm not in the B team, I will be glancing at the B team and see how many went in. And if I determine that there isn't enough in the belly, I'll go in. But usually it works out. Anyway, I'll be right back. And then maybe we'll do normal raid reclears. In the meantime, sanity restored. Oh, hey, Ramu. Oh, here's this. I've seen more Diablo's Hollow fails than Cerberus. Catching a tank buster meteor somehow harder than Cerberus' belly mechanic. To be fair, Diablo's Hollow is, I don't even know if that's fair. What makes Diablo's Hollow more likely to kill you is that Cerberus is doable with like 3 or 4 players that know what they're doing. It's gonna be hard, but it's doable. Diablo's Hollow, if you only have like 3 or 4 people that know what they're doing, they better be 2 tanks and 2 healers. Or 1 tank and 3 healers. Because what makes Diablo's Hollow so scary is that he hits like a freight train. Diablo's Hollow is an example of an old duty getting harder, since tanks now can't use awareness to negate the crits. That's true! Although it's also made a little easy in the other direction, because he auto-crits until you break the barrier. Hey, Ian Master! Hope you're doing well. Oh, that's annoying, Jagged Diamond. I don't think I have very much control over what gets sent. Right, so a quick checkup. Everyone in the current party is interested in doing normal raid reclears. If not, leave. Because that's what we're doing next. The any mechanics in M11S that stand out as particularly tricky? I would say that, like, based on what I've seen, I hear the arena splits is supposed to be pretty tricky. But the problem is that like a lot of boss mechanics have a lot of unique stuff that is difficult enough. Leviathan says, I always see people stun Diablos out of that one gaze attack, but how? Kick and interject don't work for me. When he starts phase 2, he gets a buff. He gets a barrier. And while the barrier lasts, he auto crits everything. When you destroy the barrier, a moment later he casts a buff on himself that makes him immune to crowd control. So the way that it works is that you have to do it at the right time. That's really what it is. Anyway, let's see here. I think we'll roll with this party. I'm not trying to pick favorites. It's more that, as I said earlier, when it comes to 8 players, it's easier. If there's someone that is like, I don't want to go, then we just swap them. Sometimes people like in the middle of the set, they go, well, I have to leave now, and then we replace them. But I can't in a fair way regroup and then grab 7 players, which means that the ones that I should grab instead would be like instead of someone else. Hey Wolfkin, hope you're doing well. Yeah, I know, Shaq. I saw the 3 healers. I assumed that everyone got the writing on the wall that I'm like, well, I can't do anything. Someone has to do something, because it seems like the people have sat on their chairs. I wouldn't mind doing it solo tank, but I'm pretty sure that whoever gets the second tank buster will be very sad. Butterflies says, my favorite part is when Guide's description of mobs is it has no notable mechanics. The thing is, what makes it really, really difficult about something like a Savage boss is like, if we just talk like M11S, most of his mechanics are relatively relevant and complicated. It's just that relative to Savage boss mechanics, a lot of his mechanics can like be simplified to, oh, it's the same as this other boss. So it's not like, it's not anything new, anything special.
Come, my pets.
So it makes it a little hard to like give a fair judgment of what mechanic is hard or special, because like it kind of depends on what you're used to as well, right?
This is my show. I will hear you scream.
A wicked weapon. Vampatel's poised to execute a fatality.
You will become a stain on this.
The challenger has nowhere left to run!
The problem with that idea, Butterfly, is that I don't think you'd be able to cover every single one.
Oh, that must have hurt. Hang in there.
Tons of fights have more than a buster every 2 minutes. There's that, and the ones that do have a buster exactly every 2 minutes.
Faithful minions. Give me your ether.
You might not, like, you might also need Holy Shelter on top. Suddenly it starts to become a little complicated to get everything, although you would be able to have that gauge.
All of you will feed me.
Could work for this fight. Normal, probably.
That Patel's unleashed the ether. The challenger's in her realm now.
I think you might also be able to solo tank the extremes normal, specifically the normal version. I think the bigger problem with covering here is that when she gets the bigger tank busters, they become large enough that the 20 yalm radius or range on cover starts to be a little difficult.
You are a stubborn one, but it is not too late to beg for mercy.
The spectacle of slaughter resumes. How will the challenger adapt? It's a veritable rain of death.
Ooh. She screamed. She screamed, but she also attacked.
Such insolence I have never known. More. I need more.
But yeah, it could work on some fights, Butterfly. It could have worked on this one, maybe, but I feel like at this point it might become a problem.
Spectators are feeling all right.
It's possible that it, like with an additional DPS, you might be able to just, you know, kill the boss before this comes up, and then it's fine. It does look like cover is long enough that you could cover someone
In pain
with the tank
lies
buster.
pleasure.
She's unleashed even more ether. How will this end?
Oh, dead. Ooh, music!
It's
Ooh,
all over.
oh.
Until next time.
Dang it. Oh, dang it. What? How did I win it with a 50? I think if you have a paladin so you can cover whoever gets targeted by the tank buster, I think one tank, one healer would be better. Because the boss does do a lot of raid-wide damage. Like, genuinely, she does do a lot of damage. I'll say Deki. Deki bot. Hope you're doing well. But also Saga DPS and rest me easily. Yeah, although if you have to do that every time the tank buster comes up, maybe that sacrificed DPS. I almost tried to put markers down by instinct. The DPS that DPS will do will probably be so weakened that you would have been better off just having 2 tanks. Like that's why I'm like, it doesn't work if you have to go, well, we can just sacrifice the DPS, because then you have lost all the value you would have gained.
Oh, what fearsome flames! He set the ring ablaze.
I ride the inferno.
But I do believe that a lone tank can take Red Hot's 2-punch tank buster just fine. Like his pair tank buster. And there isn't really anything else that you'd need to take, so as I know, that could require 2 tanks. So you could probably solo tank this.
Deep Blue's lost his cool. He's tagging in.
If there ain't a wave to ride, just make one yourself.
Good gods, what an enormous wave!
Bet you've never seen anything this gnarly.
Want to see me do it again?
You're going down! What a drag. Let's do this together, bro.
Both brothers have entered the ring. Oh, that's grounds for disqualification.
They don't fight alone either, so it's only fair.
I'm standing, I'm standing, I'm standing.
It seems the referee is allowing it. It's double trouble for the challenger.
We're just getting started.
Ow. Oof.
Hey, check out this smooth teamwork.
The brothers have triggered a fusion explosion! Truly, they're deadly beasts.
Red stack means tanks only? Yes. Well, specifically if it's a red one with like orbs swirling, it usually means tank stack. believe the first time they use that marker nowadays due to changes is in Thornmarsh Hard. I think they made that marker the first time in Shadowbringers or Endwalker. But yeah, that's what it means. It means the amount of orbs means how many do you need. And the red orbs usually means, well, it's a tank buster, because red arrow pointing down usually means tank buster.
I've been saving this trick just for you.
Oh, brace yourselves, folks. The extremes are holding nothing back.
Don't worry about it, Jagged. Normal raids are like side content. You're not getting spoiled on the story, at least. It's just mechanical stuff. And of course the fights that you may have never seen before. You've never seen a red stack? You should have seen it in Thornmarsh on Good King Mugglemog, although he might have just died so fast that it didn't come up. But I think it usually manages to come up. The Moogle fight, unless you've been on your journey long enough that you did that fight before the rework, which was in Endwalker.
Bet you've never seen anything this gnarly.
Wow, that's so gnarly.
And they dance out of the way unharmed. Unbelievable.
I ride the inferno.
I'm standing here. Standing. Ah! Yeah!
You're going down.
It's all over. Until next time.
I've only played Extreme Thornmarsh unsynced for my light farm. You can imagine how that went. Doesn't sound too bad. The tank boss that I'm talking about only comes up on the hard version, aka the normal version, because the extreme version was not reworked. That's also the reason why the extreme version is so different, because they didn't touch that one. The hard version used to be sort of similar to the extreme version. It's like, usually it's near the end of the hard version fight, when you do it synced. The king will cast a tank buster. I think it can target either tank. And then you're supposed to stack them. Seal says, this might be a dumb question, but when there are two bosses, is it better to use a melee LB or a magic ranged LB? Caster and ranged LB does more damage on two targets. Like, it's better on two targets. Incidentally, caster LB just does more damage than ranged LB. Like, the caster LB is slightly stronger. So that's why you go caster, ranged, melee. Sometimes the shape... the shape can matter.
At long last, the decisive match against the Grand Champion!
Didn't they equalize range and caster LB a while ago? Nope.
First,
I have Mythbuster videos where I demonstrate the damage difference with Math Ranger. So I'm not just going, I don't think so. I'm like, I literally tested it. So if they did, they changed it back.
Another attack evaded with aplomb.
The way that works, Jagged Diamond, is that sometimes the ranged physical will be like, I want to use it. And sometimes the ranged physical just gets tired of waiting. Say Weaver and Math Ranger, hope you're doing well.
How about this?
But it is worth mentioning, just clear detail, that the power difference between ranged physical and caster LB is small enough that if you need an LB to go off at a specific time, it's better that an LB goes off in time than it being specifically the correct one. So if you're the ranged physical and the mage isn't doing anything, you're like, we should LB now, you just send it. You sending it on time is worth the difference.
Absolute brutality! The champion's power is unmatched!
There is much more to come.
Oh boy, Mar!
Oh, the challengers holding their own.
And was the moment we got the last bar filled? Yeah, in that case, they were just really excited. Did they have a macro too? Sometimes when they are so excited to send it, they have like a macro that like sends like some dramatic lines, an RP, to go with their epic limit break. It could also be that the boss is about to die, so it's like, well, we have to send it.
Oh, it's tyranny time, folks. He knows no mercy, and he's never tasted defeat.
Oh, right. I completely forgot he had that on normal.
No more holding back.
A lot of red mages? Oh, yeah, that they also like to do it because there's a meme about red mages limit break being blinding.
Warrior.
I beg your pardon? What is he going to do with all those weapons? Such ferocity! The champion is ruthless indeed!
My reign is absolute. I will not.
Hey, Demonics, hope you're doing well.
The tyrant altered his form. He looks even more
The reason, Weaver, is that the melees would like their uptime. So by being as close to the axe as possible, they can like weave in, smack him, and then go out so they don't get hit. And also they will be able to like weave in after the circle AoE resolves. So it's about like if you don't play melee, it might be difficult to see it, but that is the reason. Like that's it. That's the reason. Like, if you'd like to see it a little bit more in, like, actively shown, Weaver, if you check any of if you check the most recent stream on the channel that is Savage rating, the one that has, I think it's round 3, Tyrant, there you can see my POV, and every single time you'll see that, like, for me to have like no downtime, for me to like be able to do every single GCD without fail, I have to like chase the boss, like basically trail behind him the whole way. Oh, whoops. And being closer to him helps. It also helps ranged sometimes if they want to like have to move less, I guess. But it is straight up just Melee uptime stuff. Individual limit break boss. Jagged, fun fact, in PvP, every player has an individual LB gauge. And each job's limit break is also unique. Although, to be fair, some of them are like... they're basically something that isn't, like, that is just a button in PvE content. Like, for example, what job do you play, Jagged Diamond? Wow, we skipped the sandwich. Wow. You play Ninja.
It's all over.
Okay, that one is a little hard. Ninja's limit break in PvP is like, it does some damage, but if the player has less than 50% HP, you just one-shot them. You just slash kill. And they just die. You don't even do damage, you just delete them. But for a different example, Warrior's limit break is basically super inner release, which is just their 1 minute cooldown in PvE. It's an execute, yes. Samurai's limit break is also an execute, it's just slightly different. Machinist pulls out a sniper and just shoots someone for massive damage. Not guaranteed one shot, but it can kill just straight. Just. That's more to say in PvP, sometimes the limit break is like, yes, in PvE we call it an ability. Nice, it's time to jam. It's also the first time I see it skipped.
Never had a choice, never let the ops win. Calm them nerves, got the whole world watching.
The president must pay for his crimes. Give him what for, champion.
This is the song, Jagged.
His arm has a life of its own. Is this the power of the mythical Linwork? His arm is slithering out. Oh.
Everything burns! Exactly, Speedy.
Watch out! That is one cruel coil.
Uh-oh. See? Pictomancer slide, smack right into the tail. Ruh-roh.
Once again, they slip beyond their opponent's reach.
He put goop on me. Wah. 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 Oh.
Another attack evaded with a bomb.
Doesn't go with the outfit yet. It's not pink. That's the problem. spiral fission.
His arms are snaking.
And then he brings down the house.
What's he planning?
He's planning that.
Oh no! The gore has lashed onto the champion!
Oh no! Oh no! No! We lost the rust! Do the auto rotate? Mean.
And they're back in action! Can they turn the tide?
Huh. Well, then when you're gonna have trouble finishing that mechanic. Oh boy.
The battle is decided! Victory goes to the champion! What the? Could the Lindworm's regeneration be out of control? The Lindworm's completely healed! What outrageous regenerative power! Is there no limit to its regenerative capacity?
Hey. Eight to sleep, and Brianna, hope you're doing well. I don't know, I think this fight was cool. But I do recognize that there's a little bit of a thematic mismatch. But I would also say what I do think makes it a little difficult with Everything Burns is that the speed of the song is difficult to match for a boss fight in 14. like, almost all jobs have difficulty matching it. Even the fastest ones. And sure, you could make a boss that just like rapid fires mechanics to match it, but I feel like that might not make for a very fun fight either. So I feel like I guess you could add it, like, thematically fit it better with, like, oh, it could be a fire boss. But I believe the headcanon of a lot of players is, yeah, but the arena doesn't have a theme for the Lindworm. That's a surprise. Everything burns is the player's theme. Which sort of solves the problem with the mismatch thematically with the boss, because it's supposed to match with you, the player. And obviously, the epic song that is Everything Burns is of course playing when the Lindworm challenges the champion of the Arcadion, because what else, right? Even though there is something a little bit there with who's actually the champion and all that. Good evening, Rost. But there is a shame when the song, like the best song, doesn't match with the fight that you think is the coolest one. But I mean, we still have the song. Counter to that, Later Sleep, imagine if they were like, oh, sweet, we have this awesome song. Well, there's no boss in Dawntrail that matches that energy. And then we just don't have the song. And then, like, next expansion comes out. And, like, the first raid here, they're like, well, we hadn't really planned to add a fire boss or anything. We don't really have, like, the perfect match. And this level of epicness, like, it can't be the final boss of the first raid tier. Second raid tier comes out. Well, it would be better if it was a final raid. Like, we have to wait like 3 additional years because Lindworm wasn't it. You get what I mean? We get machinations instead. Tranvo says the Phase 2 song is better anyway. I think both are good. I think both are good. Personally, I think I would rank M10S's theme over the M12S Phase 2 theme. But that isn't necessarily bad. But also, yeah, Jagged, the big surprise there at the end is that the boss gets back up. Although there is something funny that it is like a pretty like desperation tactic kind of phase. Like, I have wiped in the first few weeks. I have wiped on M12N. But that has usually been to like really early in the fight. Like to like silly things for the most part. That last bit has usually not gotten me. I don't have anything against the M11S theme. I just... For me, it's like... it's okay. I much prefer M10 and M12. Hey, Grimmy, hope you're doing well. I just recently wiped the M12N Phase 2. You know, it is funny because that is true. That is M12N Phase 2. Francis says Tyrant is my favorite boss out of the tiers. I'm biased. 10 is the brothers, yes. Well, I mean, apparently you could have Tyrant as your favorite boss and then not have the music as your favorite. There's also the part that the bros also became the greatest meme in this tier. Travis says, I'm one of those player oddities that only like maybe 10% of the boss themes, but love 95% of the game music overall. That is interesting. I think a lot of the general music in 14 is great. It's just like a lot of it is music that I'm like, it's alright. Like, I don't mind it. But it's more likely that I'm like, oh, this is good. This is the good stuff when it's a specific boss theme. You can usually tell that if I specifically went out of my way to grab the theme of a boss for the Mental Roulette series, like if I actually grab it and put the correct one on, usually it's either because I did the extreme version enough times that I was like, okay, well, we kind of need to get that, or we were on it long enough that like we have to get the correct one on. Or it was like current, so I just happened to have the song lying around. Or it's just because of like, well, this song is good. We need to get that one on. Best music is back in 4 days? What? Playlists of songs that are funny to play over footage of guild tests. Oh, right. Papaya. Papaya, papaya, papaya. Map, map, map. Well, you might not want to know late to sleep. Jack Diamond says, I sometimes have a hard time deciding whether the music is good in general or good in comparison to the other tracks in the game. That's fair. I do think that a lot of themes in Final Fantasy XIV are, like, good in general. Music kind of plays while thinking of funny guild has names those men's Roulette videos. You know, the problem is that a lot of them is like, I've done every combination of words that I can come up with at this point. So, like, I have genuinely, like, I know for a fact that some of the names I've used before, and I've just given up keeping track of it. So I just put in whatever comes to mind. Sometimes, if as I'm reviewing the footage, I see someone in the chat posted a funny word, a funny name for it, I'll just use that. Gotta get more in. Well, the problem is that you kind of have to make sure that it's close enough that you can that you see the name and you see the dude and you're like, I can see it. Thank you. Oops, says I think there's only 2 or 3 tracks in this game I actually mute when they come up. Which are, what are those? Share with the class. In my defense, Jagged, we are hastily closing in on 100 episodes. And I think we're closing in on 400 guild tests. Ramu Trial and Gold Saucer theme are the ones that come to mind. The Ramu, like the level 50 version? Hmm. Yeah, I could see it. It's quite specific. You know what's funny is with the Gold Saucer theme is that some of you may know how I handle when Torn from the Heavens comes on. The same problem exists for the Gold Saucer theme. So if I were to stream, like, I don't know, like a 3-hour stream maybe, something like that, in the Gold Saucer, I would probably mute that music as well. The BGM at the Isle of Seki is mute-worthy? What? Okay. Welcome back, Taldabar. And see, the key difference there, apparently, is that I think I'm a little further behind on the actual duty clears. There's also something to be said that I didn't track the first 200 mental roulettes I did. So for me, it's nearly 400 out of like 1255. That's right, Jagged Diamond. A funny thing is that originally there was a little bit of cannon firing in the normal version as well, but then they reworked it. You don't like Thornmarsh theme? But it's the song about Good King Mugglemog, Good King Mug. Praise be his fluffiness. Make sometimes as video series like yours have made me wish I'd kept better records. I've started taking a note of every 100th one instead. Yeah, it's also something to do. I believe, if I remember correctly, the number 1000 mental roulette, so specifically the 1000 on the achievement, I believe that we got an under the armor for that one. Tranwo says, y'all are wrong. The most mute-worthy is the Pulse remix of A Long Fall. But Hoofs adds, it starts out so promising. Yes, I agree. I don't think I would mute it, but it's more so because I'm just like, if it comes up and I'm streaming, hypothetically, I would probably just be like, well, that's, I guess, the background music then. And if I'm not streaming, I'm probably already listening to my own stuff. Like, I just have like a playlist playing or something. So it doesn't matter. But yes, that's also how I thought it. Like, I feel like that's the problem with a lot of dubstep for me, is that a lot of the time, the problem that I have can be summarized as it starts out so promising, and then the beat drops, and then you're like, oh, right, it's dubstep. And some people like dubstep, I just not a fan. For me, it's usually if a song is really good, despite that, I might be like, okay, it's fine. But it's usually despite that. 118 under the armors out of the 400. Oof. I'm pretty sure that that's also my highest by a significant margin. Anyway, we got the dailies done, and we even got some weeklies done. So, let me see here and find everything in my notes. First off, I'll just start with this. If you did enjoy the stream, it does really help to leave like one of those likes over on the YouTube side. You know, there's the whole algorithm stuff and all that. I'm just highlighting it because I do see, like I'm just saying, when I mention that it's a thing, sometimes people will like the stream, just an extra. But when I highlight that it matters for the algorithm, people are usually a little bit more like, oh, well, okay. Like, instead of it being like, you know what I mean? Yeah, I guess I could. When it's like, oh, it actually does a thing. Well, then I really should. You can, of course, also not if you feel like, nah, it wasn't worth a like. That's also okay. I understand. I just wanted to point it out. Exactly. Smash that like and all that. It does matter. So it is very much appreciated. But with that out of the way, if you would like to be part of the Discord community server, there's a link right there in the chat. There you'll find the weekly schedule where you can see what else is coming up in the coming days. I usually update it Sunday or Monday. You'll also find the announcement room with links to videos and streams when I put them out. And if you grab the reminder roll in the role assignments room, you get a notification whenever I post a video or stream. As an extra run, around 15 minutes before stream starts, you can catch it right when we go live. And if you'd like to support the channel even more directly, you can like the stream, you can follow, you can subscribe, you can become a member, you can super chat, you can cheer. And if you don't like any of that, there's also a Ko-Fi page linked right there in the chat, and it all helps support me and the channel directly, so I can do stuff like this with all of you without being like, oh man, does the algorithm like this? I can just be like, well, the people that like my content likes this, and that's good enough. But with that said, that'll be all from me tonight. Let's see, let me just check on the rating options here. Eh? Sure, let's do that. We will check out what Switch is up to. But that'll be all from me tonight. So good night, good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending where you are in the world, and hope to see you all very soon. Bye-bye!